ms.gov/readyny or call 311 and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by New York City Emergency Management and the Ad Council.
My Hometown is made possible by Herald Community Newspapers. For more local news, visit liherald.com. Got a story to tell? Call 516-569-4000.
WHPC.
And now we return to My Hometown.
We're back on My Hometown. I'm your host, Bill Horan, along with Nassau Community College student Joe Ritter. Our special guest today is Robin Marks, Long Island Regional Director for Amber Court Assisted Living. Joe?
So we were talking about issues about resistance to going to assisted living. So how would you help them to overcome the resistance to getting into assisted living?
I like to invite a potential resident to come and visit us, first of all, and instead of just a little tour to see the rooms, I actually invite the person to have lunch with us and spend time enjoying an activity. So they can decide for themselves how it feels, and I think when people make a change for the better, it's easy to get used to. I do my very best as a matchmaker to seat a person in the dining room with other people they can gel with. My mindset is if I was making a wedding, where would I seat this guest so that they will connect with other guests and enjoy themselves? If someone is going to have a roommate, I do my matchmaking there as well. And I don't know if it's genetic, but I'm pretty good at the matchmaking thing.
You know, that really is very important because I'm sure people with similar likes, whether it's the Yankees, fishing, golf, maybe going to Florida, they like to talk to people like themselves. We all do. So if you can make a good match, I'm sure that enhances the environment.
Exactly. I think it's even truer in the older generations because people weren't as mobile as they are today, and they weren't as connected with the world as we're accustomed to today. So there may be more of a tendency to really connect with the familiar from their past. Also, many people come into assisted living because they may be experiencing some memory issues, and that's not uncommon. And the memory stuff affects typically short-term memory. Long-term really stays intact. So having a shared history becomes increasingly important.
On another show, and Joe, you might find this interesting too, we had neuroscientists on, and they talked about experiments. And when the people went back to a certain era in their lifetime, they bloomed. The magazines from the 1950s or 1960s, or kind of high school, college, younger years, it enhanced their memory. Skills came back to them. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of amazing that all of that came back because it like just funneled in, and they had people with them who understood that. So I can see where that's such a highlight.
In fact, we have a specialized memory care aspect to Amber Court. It's called the Alcove, and the furnishings in terms of decorations and pictures are all cultural touchstones from the era that we're serving.
I think we have to take a field trip. I want to see this place. You have a few years, but for me, maybe I'm going to take a field trip soon.
You know, Joe, even at your tender young age, I think you would enjoy seeing this environment because there's a lot of misconceptions about the aging process. I'd love you to see how people are when they fall in love. The fact is, they're teenagers all over again. The heart doesn't really know an age. It's a very joyous thing to see, and sometimes I could actually picture little hearts fluttering around the people who are walking hand in hand because they discovered a special connection with each other.
Plus, they have cheeseburgers, so you can't
I was going to use that line. Now, what other amenities? Now, you know you got me with the cheeseburgers, but what are some of the things that the people really like that you have there, the amenities?
It's really the activities. Any great assisted living is going to have a robust activities program, and that's something that truly enhances quality of life when you're enjoying yourself. We happen to have an amazing activities director. She's actually there longer than I am, and she's a party girl. So we have lots of parties for reasons and no reasons. Music is a language no one forgets. It's part of our daily life. And we have concerts there once or twice a month. There are talented residents who play piano and treat us to sing-along. sing-alongs, and Ginger keeps everybody hip and cool with karaoke once a week, and we just have a really good time. We celebrate everyone and everything, so that's another aspect. Sometimes spiritual life becomes even more important as people are aging, and they have more time to connect with their spiritual side. So there's actually people who come in from St. Bridget's, and Mass is said there on Sundays. There's volunteers who come in and say rosary. We do Sabbath services on Friday. So back to your question, actually, about this cheeseburger. We can actually serve you a cheeseburger, but a good point to make is, in terms of matchmaking, there are people who may be adhering to certain dietary either restrictions or practices that has to be considered also. Some places are kosher, and you would not be able to get your cheeseburger. If that is important to somebody, it's a question that needs to be asked when you're doing your research for your parent or loved one.
Robin, once again, I just want to interrupt you because some of the people might be saying, this really sounds good, which it does to me. If they want to get in touch with our special guest today, Robin Marks, where do they get in touch? Give us an email or a website and a phone number.
Absolutely. My phone number is 516-334-3838. You would just ask for Robin Marks.
I'm going to repeat that, 334-3838. Okay. See, memory's still pretty good.
You're doing fine.
Okay. And give us the website or the email.
My email is a great way to reach me. I can retrieve that from my phone. I'm not always at my desk. You can reach me at rmarks@ambercourt.com. Let me spell that for you. RMARKS at AMBERCOURTAL.com.
And the AL is for assisted living.
It is.
See, I'm paying attention, Joe.
You are.
I know that.
You're taking down good notes.
I'm proud of you.
Because that's really important. And you have offered, and I'm a witness, she said, Robin said that she will be a resource. So if you just want to call her and find out some information about assisted living, fees, costs, procedure, timelines, etc., call her up, take her offer, get good use out of Robin.
Yes, I do pride myself in being a good connector. I don't know that we're always going to be the right answer. When we're not, I try to help people know what is and lead them in that direction.
You want them to go in the right direction.
Exactly.
Joe?
So, what medical and health services would you provide? Because we talked a lot about amenities and all the good stuff, but there also is a whole other side to it.
Exactly. If we were just really talking about what kind of room and what services come with a room, that might just be any residential environment. But it's the assisted part, the places that people need help, that distinguish an assisted living environment from other kinds of residences. And aside from that launch pad that we include for every resident, we do make care a big feature of what we provide, and every resident has a case manager. She is the go-to person for families if they have something to ask or something to tell. The case managers coordinate all appointments. Now, we straddle a higher level of care than a traditional assisted living. We have a unique program known as the Assisted Living Program, which you mentioned before, and that happens to be a Medicaid-funded program. So when you're talking about meeting needs, not only do you have to be thinking about on a medical level, but you have to be thinking about a financial level also. And I have to say, one of the points of pride that I get is that Amber Court does have a Medicaid-funded assisted living program that we use. The acronym ALP, ALP stands for the Assisted Living Program. And basically, it allows us to address a higher level of care and lower finances. In order to qualify to run the program, you need to be licensed, and we happen to be dually licensed, assisted living adult home. You need certain staffing provided by a certified home health agency, and they provide us with the appropriate amount of RNs and LPNs, and we added to the mix having a doctor on the premises 5 days a week. So that wasn't a requirement. That is something we do to help position us as tops in meeting medical and care needs.
Robin, I'm going to interrupt Joe on that because I'm sure somebody's wondering, are there options of paying for this that you could tell us, or like costs and fees that people should be aware of?
Absolutely. There is the rent aspect, which is addressing the kind of room someone has. And it's important when you are on your search for the right answer to ask what is included with the rent. Not all places, in fact, very few include medication management and supervision. It's something that many people really need, and some adult children are not really aware that their parents are not reliable with their medications because they're not living with them. So it's an assumption often that people make that the parent is okay or the loved one is okay, and only to find later on that someone over-medicates or under-medicates. We happen to include it. It's a non-issue for us, whether families are aware or not. There are important things to know about cognitive levels of functioning and physical levels of functioning, and those are individually addressed in different communities. So that's another place the match has to be appropriate so that there's a good longevity to the arrangement of staying in this environment.
If someone wants to come in, is there a period of, I guess I've heard the expression waiting period, or is it a matter of 2 weeks, a month, 10 years?
Well, and just in terms of adjusting, I would say 6 to 8 weeks is pretty realistic for the adjustment period, and that nobody should expect a seamless, challenge-free period. It takes some time, and usually the aches and pains of adjusting come out in the form of complaints. Which again it's important to pay attention to that, but you don't necessarily have to take it as gospel. If someone says the coffee was served cold and I asked for tea and I got hot chocolate, so we're definitely feeling in our environment at Amber Court that we become the family for this person and for their family. So we're here for the same purpose to join in that village and make quality of life the best possible that it can be. It doesn't, it's not instant, though. That's the thing to understand. There's no long-term lease to sign, Bill. So that's in terms of adjusting and determining whether this works out. So there's no long-term lease to sign. Most assisted living environments, including ours, ask for 30 days notice if somebody is going to move out. You really wouldn't know before then if it's working. And all the people that I know that are in the assisted living communities do a very good job of trying to make sure it's the right answer.
Robin, our time goes much too quickly,
yes,
and you're so knowledgeable. But before we wrap up, please, once again, tell us, how can people get in touch with you?
My name is Robin Marks, Marks. I can be reached at Amber Court Assisted Living in Westbury, 516-334-3838. My email is rmarks@ambercourtal.com. That's rmarks@ambercourtal.com. The website also offers a lot of information, ambercourtal.com.
Robin, thank you so much for all that information. I'm sure you're going to be getting a lot of people checking in with you because we're all so ignorant on what goes on with assisted living. We want to thank you so much for being with us today on My Hometown on WHPC 90.3. I'm Bill Horan, along with Nassau Community College student Joe Ritter. Thanks for being with us.
We'd like to get your feedback on My Hometown. Send your comments to whpc@ncc.edu. My Hometown is produced by Jim Green, executive producer. Nassau Community College, where success starts and continues. Till next time, this is Bill St. James. And remember, there's no town like your hometown.